It's hilarious. He's very funny, man. I can't do this myself. Singing? Oh, you're noodling. So it's a technical. I will show you. I need help from a woman with my belly. Fix that, please. It's driving me crazy. Oh, that's why. Thank you. Oh, it's driving me crazy. Ya la la, ya la, ya la la la, ya la la, ya la, ya la la, You can sing this little nigun, brings your thoughts and prayers right to God. If you sing this little prayer, you don't need a word, just a breath. All you need is a lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Ya la lie, 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 ya la lie. la 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 la. Ya la 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 la, ya la la la. If we build this house from love, ya la la ya la ya la la la, then God will build this house from love. Ya la la ya la ya la la la. You do everything.
Shabbat Shalom. My name is Leslie Berger, and I'm co-president of the temple along with David Youngman. Couple of announcements. This Sunday is the food drive from 11 to 1. You don't have to get out of your car, just put it in your trunk and we'll take it out for you. So just go in the driveway, drive by, slow down, and they'll take it out for you. Please slow down. Also, Sunday, August 28th, is the Sisterhood Paid Up Membership Brunch. Please RSVP by August 21st online, and you could pay for your membership online or at the door. So please let us know if you're coming. Not too many meetings this week, thank goodness. I'd like to congratulations to Dina on her 75th birthday. Thank you for the virtual flowers, which I don't see on the screen there. And also for Sammy on her trip to college, on her way to college. Mazel tov. The awning is sponsored by the Kotkin family in honor of Sammy. I'd like to thank Dr. Goldfarb, Cantor. What are you doing? Sorry.
Sorry. Pay no attention to the man behind the mask.
And
not the droids you're looking for.
Not the shoulder, thank you. And thank you to Cantor Stacey Morse, and thank you, Dr. Ray. And again, the tech team, Phil Carey up in Washington, and David Youngman and Chris Jastroff. Shabbat Shalom.
A little bit of a, oh, goodness gracious.
This is all because I really needed water.
And the rabbi does everything. He does everything.
Yes, sir.
All right, we're going to see if we have exercised our gremlin. I brought in a nearby Catholic priest. One moment. So I had the opportunity to bring in a priest, a rabbi, and an imam during this past week. No, it was not the beginning of a joke. It was an opportunity to excise our gremlins from our sound system. But once again, they have prevailed. I hope that we will be able to remedy this situation during the course of our service. But in absence of that, know that we have enough backup systems to enable us to be able to continue our worship service. So there was this situation, this posed by a rabbi, a priest, and a minister. Sorry, a rabbi, a priest, and an imam. What would happen if the world should become engulfed with waters and all of the solid land would be inundated with these waters? No human beings would be able to exist. The priest responded that we would gather for our services, and as our sanctuaries flooded, we would praise the name of our Lord and Savior Jesus, and we would welcome the coming of the end of this world. The Imam said that we would recognize that this is the day of judgment, and that God has decided that this world should cease to exist as it has been, and that we would praise Allah and welcome the ending of this physical servitude and this physical suffering. The rabbi thought for a moment and said, we Jews would likewise acknowledge the transition that was taking place, but we would learn to breathe underwater. Perfect. Thank you, Ray. And so, besides our technical difficulties, we will set them aside for a moment. Whatever they behold for us, they behold for us. And our challenge, as Judaism has taught us, is to how we will respond. Will we choose to make this night a night of, oh my God, can you believe the sound system? What is wrong with our sound system? Or will we choose to rise above it and say, you know what? Sometimes technology does not work as we expect it to, but we will rise to the challenge. And that's what we choose to do tonight. We will rise to this challenge. For those of you joining us at home on our YouTube channels, I invite you to set aside a little bit of challah, some candles, a bit of your favorite Shabbat beverage, Kiddush wine, Scotch, bourbon, your choice, single malt Scotch. I hold no judgment onto what you choose as your favorite Shabbat beverage. We also want to acknowledge our Shabbat greetings from Jeff and Wilma, from Rita and Bob Rubin. Jeff is a past president of our congregation. Rita is a current member of our congregation. Thank you so much for your support of our congregation. And we have a special Shabbat shout out. Congratulations to Samantha Kotkin on our acceptance to New York University. Love Mom and Dad, but wait a minute. Her first, is it a year, Samantha? Her first year will be spent at the NYU campus in Madrid, Spain. Oh my God. If I had known, as I told to Samantha earlier, that the Ohio State University would welcome me as a student and welcome me to their campus in Buenos Aires, Madrid, Spain, London, England, Jerusalem, Israel, wherever. Oh my God. So Samantha, we are so incredibly proud of you. And we'll have a chance to share in that as I acknowledge that Doug and Joanne are our sponsors of our Shabbat Oneg this evening. And I would like to invite Joanne Kotkin and Samantha and Doug to join us on the Bima, or Emmanuel as he is also known, so that we might acknowledge this occasion with appropriate blessings. It is a long-standing tradition at Temple Beth Or that we do not acknowledge these significant life cycle events without appropriate documentation. Perhaps that's my reading of various sci-fi novels during my growing up years, 1984 and others, but we want to acknowledge this with a special traveler's prayer for you, Samantha. Adonai yishmar tzetecha uvoecha. We read in the book of Genesis, set out for yourself, leave your country, your kinsmen and your parents' home. Lech lecha me'artzecha, mimoledetcha, umiveit avotecha. Ever-present God and God of our ancestors, we turn to you with our hearts filled with tremendous gratitude for Samantha. May she always be open to the subtle ways in which you lead her life and direct her steps. Now that she begins this journey, we all turn to you in confidence and in trust, knowing that you are with her as she set forth from her land, from her home, from her parents' home, to begin this journey and this new adventure. We turn to you in support for all that has guided her on the paths of well-being. May she go forth in health and safely reach her destination. And may this journey not be in vain. Let its purpose be revealed, and let Samantha return in contentment to her loved ones and to her community. And so, Samantha, we present to you something that is easily folded in your stowaway luggage, or safely stored wherever you would like to store it. This blessing and this prayer as you set forth on this new adventure in your life. Yishmerecha ha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you on this journey. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chunecha. May you always know that you live in God's presence. May your hearts be filled with God's blessings of contentment and of shalom. And most of all, Samantha, as I don't know why I'm fiddling with that. As you set out on this journey for your first year of college students, may you recognize the wonder and the awe that exists in the world about us, that you are able to study in, of all places, Madrid, Spain, a country in which we as a people flourished for hundreds of years, and had it not been for our expulsion, would have continued to do so. You are returning in a way to the land of your roots. Yes, we're mostly Ashkenazic, but in heart we are also Sephardic, because we've also been there. There are wonderful places for you to adventure and to explore. There's a terrific chocolate shop in Madrid. Oh my God, my wife and I and my cousin Ben, and my cousin Barry, rather, had a chance to devour the best, the ultimate hot chocolate you will ever consume. This is a well-known place. Go there. Be there. And know that you and your ancestors have been there for thousands of years. May your studies be successful. May you achieve all that you have intended to achieve on this journey. And may you be blessed to return to this congregation, your home for always and forever. And let us all say,
Amen.
sorry, although our world-famous certificates are well known, our pictures are not. As a PS, when I first met Samantha, she was about this tall in Mrs. C. Lander's class. I had the pleasure of studying with her throughout her years, preparing with her for her bat mitzvah and her confirmation, traveling with her to Washington, D.C., and it is truly a heartfelt, not only mazel tov, but yesher koach, that we say to you on your future journeys, Samantha. So thank you. I also wish to acknowledge the attendance of some guests with us this evening, Victor and Eric and their parents. Thank you all for joining with us. Following our service, we conclude with a reception, and I look forward to the opportunity to visit with you then and even to invite you back to our sanctuary for some questions and some answers. So thank you for joining us this evening. As well, it is important to note that our virtual flowers have been donated in honor of Dina Jastrock's 75th anniversary. Thank you to Dina and Chris. Right? Birthday. What did I say? Anniversary? Oh, yeah. Well, that'd be a little old, but that's okay. To Dina's 75th anniversary. Birthday. The bad thing about streaming things live is we don't have that take 3. I'd like to acknowledge and congratulate Dina Jastrock on her 75th birthday. It's the anniversary of her birthday. Thank you for saving me on that one, Dina. We will have the opportunity to welcome Dina to our Bima as part of our worship service in a moment. However, let us take this moment to acknowledge that we have come to the end of this week. And although many of our weeks might very well seem to be the same, they are nevertheless very different. There are different tasks that we are called upon to perform. There are different opportunities for us to respond. And so when we come to Friday evening, it is incumbent upon us to acknowledge that which with we have shared, and most importantly, that which with we can grow from. Another minute, another hour, another way, another week. Like David, I went forth to battle against my giants. Like Deborah, I moved on high to encounter the enemy face to face. Only my battles were waged with other commuters on the road, with my competitors, with my friends, and sadly, even with my family. For 6 evenings, I have been a warrior. The battle rages on in my own camp. Only now, I found myself fighting bills and chores. I was losing the battle against time. Finally, a truce has been called. Its name is Shabbat. And it has arrived at a moment, not a moment too soon. The noise of the war of life has dimmed. A calmness is setting around me, and perhaps, just perhaps, I might calm down before this Shabbat is over. God, over this Shabbat, allow me to make peace with my giants and with myself. We continue with singing of words of Song of Songs, Shir HaShirim, which is truly a love poem between God and God's people. It expresses and acknowledges the relationship that we share with the Creator, whether we choose to engage in that relationship or not. That relationship is available to us. Dodi li, va'ani lo haroe. I am my beloved's, and my beloved is mine.
Dodi li, va'ani lo haroe. Oshashani, Dodi li. אני לא הרואה בשושנים. מי זאת עלה מלחד מדבר, מי זאת עולה מכתרת נار מר לבנה, מר לבנה. דודי לי אני לא הרואה בשושנים. דודי לי ואני לא הרואה בשושנים. ליבבתיני אחותי כלה, לבבתיני כלה. ליבבתיני אחותי כלה, לבבתיני כלה. דודי לי ואני לא הרואה בשושנים. דודי לי ואני לא הרואה בשושנים. אורי צפון וביאור תימן, אורי צפון ובואי תימן. דודי לי ואני לא הרואה בשושנים. דודי לי ואני לא הרואה בשושנים. All together. דודי לי ואני לא הרואה בשושנים. One more time. דודי לי ואני לא הרואה בשושנים. A little fun for
That's right. The cantor notes that this is the holiday of Tu B'Av. Did you notice the shape of the moon last night? Did you notice it? It was actually a big full moon. As a matter of fact, it shone so brightly during my evening hours through our bedroom windows that it woke me up. It is one of those weirdities of our orientation of our building that the evening hours, the moon at certain times shines right through the upper windows of our bedroom. And so I found myself waking up in truly bright light. Tonight, when you leave, take a note of the appearance of the moon. Sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties here. There we go. Take a look at the appearance of the moon. It is almost entirely full. And it gives us the opportunity to glimpse what the night would be like in August without any streetlights. It's very bright. The moon is a very bright light. And imagine what it was like 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 4,000 years ago. Yeah, I know, I'm working on it. I'm doing what I can. I'm channeling all the energy I can to my microphone. And so we have a chance to partake of Tu B'Av. This 14th day of Av is such a wonderful, the 15th day of Av is such a wonderful opportunity because we have this great full moon. We turn to the welcoming of our Shabbat candles as I invite Dina Jastrock to lead us in the readings and the blessing over our Shabbat candles, which you will see on the screen in front of you.
give her my mic. You're just singing to my breast. Well, you can hold it.
I don't understand.
Let's see what happens to mine.
You know, everything was working just fine.
Of course it was.
All right.
Of course it was.
let's
Is
have
this
it.
working?
Go ahead.
Okay.
I don't know.
We don't know, right?
There we go.
Okay. As the great doors of night are opening, we come into the clean, quiet room of Shabbat. Let us be thankful as we light these candles like eyes of holiness for this moment of peace. Let us savor the fruit of the vine, the blood of the earth that quickens us. Let us be thankful for grain, fruit of grasses that feed the cow, the gazelle, and us. Let us be grateful for the children and the work of the week that are our own fruitfulness. Let us never forget that food comes from the earth we must cherish and heal. Through labor we respect and reward.
Yeah, I'll try to help.
know the
Yeah,
blessing.
I know you know, but I gotta move the slides. Otherwise, people won't know what we're saying. My God.
Thank you. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'chad l'ner shel Shabbat.
And now you get to read this.
Okay. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, the source of all being,
Hold on. Oh, God.
who calls us to holy acts through mitzvot and inspires us to kindle these lights of Shabbat. You're on, Stacey. Thank God.
Good luck.
Sing with me now.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'chad l'ikner Shabbat.
I still got nothing.
I should go back to my seat.
No, hang on. Wait.
Please wait. Please wait during the silence.
You have to wait for our world famous certificate. Oh, thank God. Oh. Life teaches us that, things don't go according to plan most of the time. Our only response is what we can do to that. Thank you very much, David Youngman, for trying to help address our technical issues. But, Dina, we want you to be able to celebrate, because just as we did with Samantha, Temple Beth Or lets nothing go without an official certificate. Otherwise, it didn't happen. It's all part of the bureaucracy in which we live.
Huzzah.
You waited 75 years for this. And for 75 years, we give you this Yom Huledet Sameach, which is indeed today, isn't it? It is this very day. That's the tiara.
If you don't see
Thank
the
you.
tiara.
Yom Huledet, sorry. Zeh hayom asa Adonai nagila v'nismach havo. This is the day Adonai has made, a day for us to rejoice and to be glad. God of days and years, author of life, we thank you for the blessings of life and for all that has enriches our lives. We gather today to share in the happiness of, we have additional music. See, it's just a technological evening.
Me your passion.
I did write this. We gather today to share in the happiness of Dina Jastrock in celebration of her 75th anniversary and birthday celebration. May Dina be blessed with health and happiness and with the love and the strengthness to overcome sickness and sorrow. With your presence at her side, may Dina be blessed to see her world in her lifetime. May Dina's heart act wisely, her lips speak wisdom, and her lips whisper songs, as I'm sure Chris would attest to every day. May her vision, it's a silent room out there. This is a very tough audience. May her vision always be toward the future. Her eyes shine with the light of Torah, and her face glow like the splendor of heavens. May Dina be blessed with wholeness, contentment, peace, with above all, with shalom. As we celebrate the 16th day of Av, the 12th day of August, in the presence of your Temple Bethor community. Yes, Dina, this is one certificate you have not had to sign, and for this we are grateful to celebrate with you for 75 years. Thank you so much for sharing it with us as we share with our cantor and the words of our Shehechianu, our blessing of gratitude to God, to the Creator, for giving us life, for sustaining us, and for enabling us to celebrate with Dina on her 75th birthday.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shechizanu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh, lazman hazeh. Everybody knows this word. Mazel tov, mazel tov, mazel tov. Awesome.
Thank you, Dina,
Thank you, Ray.
and for your sponsorship of our flowers, and most importantly, for sharing your 75th birthday with us, your temple community. Thank you very much. Yeah, a birthday we will all remember. Let us praise Adonai, the source of knowledge and light, from whom we draw wisdom and insight. Let us savor the fullness of each and every day and fill our souls with the treasures of Shabbat. And let us learn to appreciate these distinctions: sacred from profane, charity from greed, purpose from drift. And let us affirm our covenant as God's people. Let us honor those who study Torah. Let us uphold the truth of ongoing revelation. Let us celebrate the glory of our tradition and draw refreshment from the well springs of prayer. Let us respect tradition and encourage creative faith. And let us dress ourselves in the garments of God: compassion for the needy, embrace of the stranger, and then spread the canopy of peace over all the world. I invite us to rise as we are able for our Baruch Hu, our call to worship.
Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Baruch eret Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach. la 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 la, ya 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 la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chochma poteach she'arim, uvifonam meshanei itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umsader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, umarvir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uvein laila, Adonai tzvaot shemo. El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim. Let us imagine a world without color, without regal red or leafy green. I probably should have begun this reading with a comment about how might we be able to best include a responsive reading when our slides are presented before us. Let us choose a different color of the text. Let us choose a italic version of that text. And so when you see italic yellow text, we will read responsively. Let us imagine a world without color, without regal red or leafy green.
Praise to you, O God, for all the colors in the rainbow, for eyes that are made for seeing, and for beauty that is its own excuse for being.
Very subtle, wasn't that? Let us imagine a world without sound, a world where deathly silence covers the earth like a shroud.
Praise to you, God, for words that speak to our minds, for songs that lift our spirits, and for all those souls who know how to listen.
Let us imagine a world without order, where no one can predict the length of the day or the flow of the tide. Imagine a universe where planets leave their orbits and soar like meteors through the heavens, and where the law of gravity is repealed at random.
Praise to you, God, for the marvelous order of nature, from stars in the sky to particles in the atom.
Let us imagine a world without love, a world in which the human spirit, incapable of caring, is locked in the prison of the self.
Praise to you, God, for the capacity to feel happiness in another's happiness and pain in another's pain.
As the universe whispers of a oneness beyond all that is, so the love in the human heart calls on people everywhere to unite in pursuit of those ideals that make us human. As we sing of one God, let us rejoice in the wonder of the universe. And we pray for that day when all humanity will be one. The words we are about to share, the words that have become the watchword of our faith, Shema Yisrael, Our words that our rabbis envisioned would be on our lips in the morning, in the evening, and at the time of our death. According to Jewish tradition, one of our greatest rabbis, Rabbi Akiva, who was tortured to death by the Romans, his students implored him, Rabbi, share those words of our faith. Rabbi Akiva acknowledged that it is better that the one who is in control of our lives be the one who share these words. And so he waited until the last minute, until with each passing breath, he shared these words. We will do likewise the same with each word of our traditional Shema, with each of our breaths, because that is what is included in the words of our Shema. Listen, hear. We will share each of these words solo. Shema, following our cantor, following the expression of our breath as long as we can hold it. Yisrael, as long as we can hold it with our cantor. We may be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להוד על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
if people fall, can they not also rise? If they break away, can they not return? The stork in the sky knows when to migrate. The dove and the swallow know the season of return. What human instinct knows the time to turn back? What sparks the conscience of the soul? We pray to sense this day anew, attuned to the all of sacred living.
Yeah, bye, bye, bim, bim, bum. Yeah, bye, 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 bim, bum. Yeah, bye. You guys got to clap for me because I only have one. Bim, bum. Ay, 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 bim, bum. Ay, 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 bim, bum. Mi kamora, bali madonna. Mi kamora, nedar bakodesh, no rati lot. Oh, say felle, no rati lot. Oh, say felle, lai lai bim bim bum, ya la lai bim bum, ya lai bim bim bum, ya la lai bim bum, hi lai, ya la lai bim bum, hi lai, ya la lai bim bum.
They are all children when they sleep. There is no war in them. They open their hands and breathe in the slow rhythm given to humans by heaven. Whether soldiers or statesmen, servants or masters, they pursue their lips like small children. And they all half open their hands. Stars stand watch over them. And the arc of the sky is hazed over for a few hours when no one will harm another. If only we could talk with each other then, when hearts are like half-opened flowers, words would push their way in like golden bees. Oh God, teach me sleep's language. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim.
Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Lishalom, Lishalom, Le'amideinu Makenu, Le'chayim, Ufros Aleinu Sukat Shlomecha, Ufros Aleinu Sukat Shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath your wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake in morning's light. Teach us gently wrong from right, O Adonai. Amen.
We give thanks to you, O God, for this Shabbat day, which brings us together as a community of faith and of hope. For the holiness of Shabbat, which can lead us to fulfill the best that is in us, we give thanks. For the memories of Shabbat enriched by the generations of our people who observed it, and from it drew courage to face hardship and light to banish darkness, we are truly grateful. We offer thanks for the peace of Shabbat, the day consecrated to family love. O God, our turning to you lifts up our humanity. You are the joy of our life, the source of its greatness, its power, and its beauty. Help us, O God. Help us to find inspiration for the coming. Help us to find peace within ourselves and, more importantly, within one another.
Now, you may not know all the words, but you know what you can do? You can clap, and they're on the screen. Okay. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם ביני ובין ישראל אותי לעולם אותי לעולם אותי לעולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם וביום השביעי שבת וינפש שבת וינפש שבת וינפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם.
We continue in a moment with the words of our tefillah, prayers that transcend the time and space in which we live. These prayers were uttered by our ancestors for the last 2,000 years. According to Jewish tradition, these prayers were uttered by our ancestors for the last 4,000 years. We are one of the oldest peoples on this planet Earth whose core value has remained unchanged. The idea that there is one God, monotheism, who has expectations of how we, God's creatures, would behave. Ethical monotheism is the phrase our ancestors attributed to the life that we live. Our fathers and our mothers prayed each through their own experience of God, each through their own visions which we have come to share. Abraham, with the fervor of justice, pleaded the cause of cities. Sarah, in the pain of waiting, dared to hope for new life. Isaac, meditating alone in the field, lifted his eyes to find love And Rebekah asked simply for the ability to discern God's call. Jacob climbed the rungs of his night into heavens, seeking destiny. Leah dreamed of love. And Rachel sought harmony. We as they, seek as well God's presence. And so let us rise as we are able, as we continue with the words of our tefillah, prayers that transcend time and space, connecting us with all Jews everywhere and at every time.
Adonai sefatai tifach ufi agita yidater. Adonai, open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'koneh Hakol, Ve'zocher Chastei Avot ve'Imaot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניכם למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה את כל אתה, רב להושיע, מוריד הטל. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומדומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יחללו הסלע. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
We may be seated. Hurt people hurt people. That is how pain patterns get passed on. Generation after generation. It is our challenge to break that change. To meet anger with sympathy, to meet contentment with compassion, to meet cruelty with kindness, to meet grimaces with smiles, forgive, and forget about finding fault. Love. Love. Love is the weapon of the future. There are times when each of us feels lost or alone, adrift and forsaken, unable to reach those next to us or to be reached by them. And there are days and nights when existence seems to lack all purpose, and our lives truly seem to be brief sparks in an indifferent cosmos. Just this day, I had to remove a nest that birds had built in the corner of our home. A nest in which we had heard not only the chirps and singles of one, but of two little babies. The other day I noticed that there seems to be something still there in the nest, but we had not heard any sounds. And we had not seen the mama or the papa bird in some time. The little bird, one of the little birds had died. And it was there in the nest, still visible from our perch on the ground. Somewhere in this cosmos, I felt the pain of a creator who said, "How sad. How sad." Fear and loneliness enter into our souls. There is none of us who are immune to doubt and to fear. No one in this world escapes times when all seems dark and senseless. But as I scooped that nest out of that little corner, as I carried the nest and that little baby bird whose adult's feathers had just begun to sprout, I felt a connection that transcended that moment. And so when all seems senseless and arbitrary, at the ebb tide of the Spirit, just as I felt my soul saying, "What is this life?" I cried out. And I reached out to companionship, to the nature around me. I realized that one of those baby birds had lived, and the mama and the papa have gone off to form a whole new brood of baby birds. I reached out to companionship and felt a connection with all the joy and the glory and the horror that is living in life in its fullness. Moments of joy that transcended those moments. I remember those chirps. Moments that transcended my sorrow at the loss of this one individual bird, knowing that the other had survived. Life can be a harsh mistress. But if we rally together, if we connect with each other, we can transcend the harshness that exists and find joy even amidst the sorrow. We can find happiness even amidst the sadness that exists in this very broken and this very fractured world, because that is the life that we have. God never said this would be easy. The Torah, our Bible, never says that life will be a piece of cake. There will be horrors that we cannot imagine. There will be sorrows that will rip our hearts from our chests. And alone, it is unbearable. But in community and with others, we can find a sense of shalom amidst the chaos in which we live.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amecha Tasi Le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amecha Tasi Yata hu melech Adon lecha shalom. Yata hu melech Adon lecha shalom. V'tur be'necha nevarech et amcha uv'chol sha'a Ishlomecha. Baruch Adonai, Osei HaShalom.
We extend our prayers of shalom, of peace, of wholeness to those here in our midst, to those beyond the confines of the walls of our sanctuary, to all who have faced challenges to their very sense of shalom, their sense of peace and well-being, to those who have faced challenges to their health and to their well-being, their bodies, their souls, their minds. We include them in the prayers we are about to share, the prayers of our Misha Berach, our prayers of wholeness, healing, and contentment. May all who are facing challenges to their health and their well-being, those who are struggling to regain a sense of shalom, a sense of balance, a sense of peace amidst a world and a life that is filled with chaos. We hope and pray that they will be blessed on their journey, a journey that will bring them to a refuah shlema, to a return to the wholeness they seek, the shalom that they desire. May all who are wrestling and struggling with their way to find shalom in their lives, may they be blessed in their journeys. Baruch atah Adonai Rofei HaCholim. We praise you, O God, who helps us bring hope and healing to those who are in need. And let us say, Amen. I invite you to share aloud the name of a loved one during the musical interlude during our prayer. An indication will be presented to you on the screen before you to share aloud the name of a loved one who is in need of just such a prayer.
Shalom Rav. So me, Mr. Let me get it. Mishper. Mishper. שברח אבותינו, וכל הברכה לאמותינו. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. מי שברך אמותינו, מקור הברכה לאבותינו. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Thank you, Dr. Ray.
A worship service is an opportunity for us as a community to gather together and to share in words and in prayers that are common to all of us. The hope of peace, an opportunity to connect with our past, a recognition of the patterns that exist in the world around us, that there is evening, that there is morning, that there can be a natural rhythm in which we can connect. But a worship service is not complete if we only share those communal thoughts. There must be time for us to express our own words, our own thoughts, in moments of silence, in the deep corners of our hearts and our souls, where we are able to express that which matters most to us. We do that with a period of silent meditation. An opportunity perhaps to reflect on the words that we have shared, the melodies that we have sung, but most importantly, an opportunity for us to achieve the ultimate moment of creation. Our tradition teaches us that the pinnacle of creation is not the act of creation we read in Genesis. It is not the act of the exodus of the children of Israel from Egypt. It is not the revelation on Mount Sinai. No. All of those moments pale in comparison to the ultimate moment of which creation was devised. It is this moment, here and now, and that it is why it is called the present. It is a gift to us. And how do we choose to spend this gift? Do we languish in moments of past misdeeds? Do we spend this moment focused on the mistakes of our past or the mistakes of others' past? our tradition teaches us that we must acknowledge that we are here. Just like that map at the mall. When you walk in and you see that red star that says, and an arrow sometimes, you are here. This is it. This is what life was all about. This is what our ancestors fought for. This is what our ancestors died for. This is what our ancestors hoped would become. They left their challenge to us. What will you do with this moment? In this century, and in any century, our deepest hope, our most tender prayer, is that we learn to listen. Learn to listen. May we listen to one another in openness and in mercy. May we listen to plants and animals in wonder and in respect. May we listen to our own hearts in love and mostly in forgiveness. May we listen to God in quietness and in awe. And in this listening, which is boundless in its beauty, may we find the wisdom and a divine spirit who beckons us into peace and into community and creativity. We do not ask for a perfect world. That does not exist. Perfection does not exist. But we do ask for a better world. We ask for deep listening. And so we pause for the opportunity for us to listen to the words of our hearts, to listen to the melodies of our souls, and to open ourselves to the voices and the sounds and the music, and yes, the cacophony of life around us. We pause to listen.
Adonai, Adonai, וגואלי, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי, וגואלי.
Cantor Stacey, as always, thank you for the welcoming to our congregation and your beautiful voice that you bring to our congregation. Dr. Ray, thank you as well for your accompaniment. To our Cantor's chauffeur, her father, Steve, thank you very much for continuing to enable us to share in your daughter's voice. I had the pleasure of being the rabbi of our congregation at a time when my daughter was our cantorial soloist. I think I share in the pride you feel. I hope I share in the pride you feel in your daughter leading us in musical worship during our worship services. So thank you. And to Victor and Eric and his parents, thank you for joining us this evening. I look forward to getting a chance to know you. Following our service, we have a reception. We call it an oneg, joyous occasion. In Judaism, joyous occasions always come with food, so there's cake and coffee and cookies and fruits and cheese and crackers. So we look forward to the opportunity to visit with you following our service. This week's Torah portion, the 5 books of Moses, the Torah, divided up into sections so that every week a new section is read, beginning with Genesis in the fall and concluding with Deuteronomy in the fall. Indeed, for those of you who have joined us in our Simchat Torah celebrations, when we unroll the Torah here in our sanctuary, we have a chance to go for a backwards tour of our Torah, starting in Deuteronomy, which is around here, and working our way around, which ends up in Genesis, somewhere around over here. So, that is the perimeter of our sanctuary, giving us the opportunity to unroll our sacred text. This week's Torah portion brings to us perhaps one of the key verses in Judaism. It is a verse that has been known as the Watchword of Our Faith. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. I love our new prayer book, the Mishkan Tefillah, the tabernacle of prayer that the Central Conference of American Rabbis produced just a number of years ago. In that book, under your seats, for those who would like to take a look on page 34 and following, you will see these 2 pages with these words presented. On one side, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. And on the other side, what was traditionally believed to be our response. The Kohen Gadol, the high priest, would stand on the walls of the temple and would shout for all of us to hear, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. And we would respond, Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. In some worship services, the Shema is said very loud. And the Baruch Shem Kavod is recited in a silent response as an opportunity to acknowledge that once responsive reading we had thousands of years ago when the high priest would say this and we would respond. We never said Shema. We said Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. So sacred were these words that the high priest alone, the Kohen Gadol, said Shema Yisrael, and we said Baruch Shem Kavod. I love how it's depicted in our prayer books. What do you see when you look? These are 2 pages, by the way. Page 34 on that side and 35 on this side. Sorry, it's split in the middle there. What do you see when you look at these words? What do you see? Well, Hebrew, yeah, the Hebrew is large across the top, and it's written in Torah script, by the way. The Ketiv with little crow's feet there on some of the letters. What else do you see? Heaven and earth. How so? That's wonderful. You've got the bow of heaven, you've got the sky, the curvature. Good job, Rabbi Richard. What else do you see? A tabernacle. I see a covering. Right, there's a covering. I see a bow, almost like a rainbow. Okay? All of these things in this phrase that we have recited for thousands of years. According to the Talmud, it is Rabbi Akiba who shared these words as his life was leaving his body. The Romans tortured him to death, and as he was dying, he said, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. It is an act of rebellion to declare to the Roman Empire that there is but one God. But let's dissect this a little bit. Echad means one. What does that mean? Well, as an adjective, it means being, a single entity, one unit of measure. It is 1 inch, 1 millimeter, 1 kilometer, 1 mile. It is one single unit of measure. It is one object. And so in this statement, we have monotheism. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, the last word, Echad. God is one. There's only one. There's not 3, there's not 2, there's not 17. There's only one. But one can also be a noun. Doesn't have to be an adjective. It could be a noun. This is a number denoting unity. One. We are one. There is only one of these things. A diamond is a perfect example. It is made of one element. Do you know what that element is? Carbon. It is the same stuff you find in a lump of coal, in a lump of charcoal. Charcoal becomes a diamond only after a lot of pressure and a lot of heat. But it's carbon, the most common element around to us here on this planet Earth. It is carbon, that's it. One element, one unit, and it becomes the hardest substance we know. It's a diamond. You can still break it, but it's still the hardest element we know. But one can also mean something else. One does not have to be simply composed of one single element in one single environment. No, we often think of a forest as being one. Here it is, the National Forest of San Bernardino, the San Bernardino National Forest. I was camping there. And the neat thing about our national forest is it is not made up of one thing. Not one tree, lots of trees, different species. Not one plant, lots of species, lots of different plants. And a forest is healthier when it has lots of species. Just like our planet. There are oceans. Oh, good. I was going to say this is supposed to move. There are oceans, and there are dry lands, and there are forests, and there are deserts, and there are ice areas, and there are arid, and you get the picture. And so being one does not necessarily mean being identical. The diamond is identical. It's all carbon. That's all there is to it. But the earth is also one. And it is made up of a rich diversity. Let's think for a moment of the ones that are involved in our lives. Think for a moment. Who are the ones involved in our lives? Well, there's family, of course. I have sisters. You have sisters, you have brothers, you have aunts, you have uncles. Yes, we have all of those parents, grandparents, hopefully. Maybe even a few of us have some grandparents. Those are part of our ones. And oh my God, are they different? If you were to present myself, my sister Stacey, and my sister Sandra here on the bima, you might see some physical similarities. But I can tell you, we are as different as can possibly be. But we're still part of a family. And if you throw in my aunts and uncles and my cousins, oh my God, you would wonder, how did you get to be a rabbi? Because that's what families are about, difference. Think about it, our spouses and our partners. The other half that made us complete and that make us complete. They are different from us, hopefully, because the worst person I can imagine marrying is me. Absolutely. Oh my God. What a nightmare that would be. And for those of us who are widows and widowers, who have suffered the death of that other half, we know how alone we feel with the loss of that other one. How can 1 and 2 become 1? That does not add up in math. 1 plus 1 equals 2. No, sometimes 1 plus 1 equals 1. And that's bizarre when you think about it. Where else do we find oneness? In community. Look at us. Just take a quick look around. We are young, we are seniors, we are singles, we are married, we are of all walks of life. And yet here we are. Why? This is oneness amidst a wealth of diversity that screams out to us at all times. This is unity amidst community, which is not just being like a diamond. This is not magic. No. This is holy. This is holy. Our ancestors had an encounter in the past with the Tower of Babel. We read about it. Yeah, it's kind of leaning a little bit there. But this is what it really looks like. Not much of a tower now. But during our Babylonian exile in 586 BCE, this was quite a monstrosity. And our Torah teaches us that everyone on earth had the same language and the same words. Now, this might sound to be the same thing, but our rabbis always teach us that if the Torah uses 2 different words, then there are 2 different meanings here. All the earth had the same language. We all spoke the same language. We all had the same words. That means that words had the same meaning. Never in human history have words had the same meaning. Here's a word, hot. What does it mean? It means warm, it's temperature. What else does it mean? Pretty. This is, she's hot. He's hot. What else does it mean? Spicy. You can put your bottle of sriracha in the freezer and have something that is cold and hot. Wait, what? It means popular. Here's a hot item. Buy it now. Why would I want to buy it if it's hot? I would get burned. No, it's not temperature. Anyway, you get the idea. Words have never had the same meaning. And so our rabbis understand that what took place with the building of this Tower of Babel, that we all had the same language, but the meaning of those words were enforced upon us. It came to be that the tower was so tall that it took a year for a brick to make it all the way up to the top. And when a brick fell from the top, according to our rabbis, everyone cried because it would take a whole year for that replacement to work its way up. The supply chain, we know that from our pandemic. How many things are still not in stock yet? Right? We're still waiting for a projector in our social hall. But when a human being fell, no one cried. Why? Because everybody reached a little farther. And the bricks still made their way up. And so our rabbis teach us that we as human beings were seduced, brainwashed, whatever language you wish to ascribe, to the building of this tower, and anyone who questioned it was executed. The goal was to build this tower. Either you're with us or you're against us. And if you're against us, we will kill you. And so what did God do as we read this story? God came down and decided to confuse our language, give us different languages. I used to think as a young child, this was an interesting way to explain why there's Spanish and English and Hebrew and Latin and Russian and Ugaritic and whatever, South Korean, right. This is a way to explain all the languages. But here's the amazing thing of our rabbis. This wasn't an explanation about how we got different languages. This was a danger of us as human beings setting aside our ability to think individually and instead follow the masses. This was a warning. All the earth had one language and one word. The meanings of those words were the same, and we set about to build one tower, forsaking the fact that diversity, different opinions is what makes us stronger. This seems to be counterintuitive, especially to those of us today. The idea that, wait a minute, I should disagree with this? Well, if reason dictates, then yes, you should. The earth is made up of complex structures. And when we try to reduce those complex structures to one single element, we will perish. History has proven that again and again and again. And let's take something as simple as physics. We are Temple Beth Or. Lighthouse. Beth, house of, or light. We're a lighthouse. But here's the thing. that light that we see is made up of different colors. It is made up of different colors. The white light that we see in this room right now is made up of different colors. Different wavelengths, different colors come together to give us the light with which we can see. Is there anything more powerful than that? That unity exists through diversity. It's right there in physics. And yet there are those in this world, in this country, in this state, who want to convince us that no, we all have to be of the same thought and the same words. We know where that ends. We know where that ends. It ends in the Tower of Babel. It ends in crusades. It ends in the Holocaust. Until we are able to understand that we are more united when we bring together diversity, until we as human beings grasp that, we will suffer the repeat of history again and again and again. It is this Shabbat, tonight, that we read in the Torah these very words that remind us that oneness is not about sameness. It's not about identicalness. It is about understanding diversity amidst the unity that exists. Shema Yisrael. This is this week's Torah portion. Shema Yisrael. Adonai Eloheinu. Adonai Echad. May we have the power and the strength to recognize that oneness is not about sameness. That oneness is about being unique, absolutely. It is about being united, absolutely. But it is about being united through diversity. Shabbat Shalom. We move to the conclusion of our worship service. I invite us to rise as we are able for the words of the Aleinu, the adoration we are about to share. I share these words as a way of bringing us into this time of not only unity, but also of solidarity and also of uniqueness. A very wise individual wrote, "There lies before us, if we choose, continued progress in happiness, knowledge, and wisdom. Shall we instead choose death because we cannot forget our quarrels? We appeal as human beings to human beings. Remember your humanity and forget the rest."
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה לעצב ראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
We read responsively. And then all that has divided us will merge. And then softness will come to a world that is harsh and unkind. And then both women and men will be strong. And then all will be rich and free and varied. And then all will share equally in the earth's abundance. And then all will nourish the young. And then all will live in harmony with each other and with the earth.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ביום
Our thoughts now turn to those who have departed this earth, those who live on in our hearts, our memories, and in the place we call Olam Haba, the world to come. We call to mind those for whom we are observing the Shiva and Shloshim, the 7 or 30 days since their death, Ed Ginter, a longtime Temple Bethor member, as well as Harry Fox, who was also a longtime Temple Bethor member. To their names, we link the names of those whose yardsites, the anniversary of their death having occurred during this past week: Julio Markovich, Walter Strauss, Dr. Harry B. Brightman, Jacob Lippy, Estelle Schwartz, Benjamin Henner, Ida Wine, Manuel S. Levine, Lillian Tiefer, Mary Pearl, Rebecca Drashoff, David Saul Hirschfeld, Sidney Hoffman, Louis Green, Aaron Schmidt, and Jacob Travis. To their names, we link the names of those for whom we are observing the 11th month Kaddish period: Gloria Austin, Dee Dee Ginter, Dorothy Bernard, Molly Shartoff, Erica Cherie Barnes, Kaylee Goldstein, Craig Wilford, Fred Fink, Joyce Ulabari, Ralph Goldstein, Marvin Asnes, Norman Lippy, Claire Phillips, David Kaplan, Helene Lieberman, Laura Cutler, Marty Hershkowitz, Dottie Roth, Gerald Kramer, Mark Lightman, Stephen Z. Levoot, Helene Brau, Tim Manriquez, Lenny Lightman, and Lorraine Stein. If there's a loved one whom you are remembering, I invite you to share that name at this time. To those that we have named aloud, and to those that we keep named quiet in the places of our hearts and our memories, we link as well the names and memories of the men and women of our armed forces who have given their lives for our liberties and our freedoms, those who have given their lives for our safety here at home, members of our police, our firefighters, and other first responders, and the members of the Israeli Defense Forces who have given their lives for the hope of peace. Zichronam levracha. We sanctify their memories as we share together the words of our Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, B'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehi shemei Rabba mevarach le'olam ulalmei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, shemei dekudesha berichu, le'elah min kol birchata v'shirata, v'shushbachata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. May all of us who mourn and all of us who are bereaved, may we find through God's eternal presence a source of strength, courage and hope, and above all a source of shalom, of peace, and let us say, Amen.
Amen.
I invite us to be seated for a moment as the cantor and I share together the words of our Kiddush. Our tradition teaches us that we share from the cup of joy, wine and juice, and the cup of sorrow, the cup of reality, often at the same time. As you enter into our social hall, there will be juices of cup and wine, juices of cups. There will be cups of juice and cups of wine available for those who enter into our social hall. Please take a cup as is your preference, but we will share the blessing here as an opportunity to acknowledge the blessing and the curse that is part of being a life that is filled with complexities, with chaos, with blessings, and most importantly, with how we respond to those very blessings. Cantor.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, באהבה וברצון הנחילנו, זיכרון למעשה וראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. קיווינו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת, מכל העמים, ושבחת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. Amen.
Chaim Ray. With that, I invite us to rise as we are able, to put our hands on the shoulder of someone next to us if you are comfortable, or the hand of someone who needs to be remain seated, as we share together the words of Oseh Shalom. May the one who makes peace in the high heavens give us the courage and the strength to build peace here in this world as we say, Amen.
Oseh Shalom במרומיו הוא יעשה שלומנו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. One more time. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו והכל ישראל
As you enter into our social hall, there will be food available for you. We will share together with our cantor and our Motzi blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lachem min haaretz.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.